Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity Church of Greater Rochester. Let's begin with singing together. Open my eyes.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Unity. Welcome to this special hour, to this special community. So the Unity Church of Greater Rochester has been here for a long time, has been touching people's lives for a long time. Let's open our lives to be touched. Let's allow this time and this coming together to reach deep within us and empower us, guide us, bring us a sense of peace. There are a number of things that we say about this community. This is one of them. Let's declare these words together. Our God is love. Our race is human. Our faith is oneness. We teach and live universal truth, unconditional love, and abundant life. Abundant life. In that affirmation, we join together with churches everywhere. We join together with people everywhere. Whether they are coming together in worship or not, we affirm that we are one. One presence and one power. In the universe and in our lives, that presence is absolute goodness. It's within us. It's within everyone. And we are one with each other. We are one with all of creation. And in that oneness, we affect all of creation. We are creative spiritual beings. We have the power to send thoughts, intentions out into the formless ethers and have things happen. That's a blessing. It's a responsibility too. So we are able to be blessings to the world, able to be blessings to our family, friends, neighbors, able to experience blessings ourselves. Today we're working on a particular long-standing unity tradition that's called Letters to God. Myrtle Fillmore started this. A number of examples of this. One of the most famous is a covenant that Charles and Myrtle Fillmore made, turning all of their lives over to Spirit with the expectation that Spirit would provide for them abundantly. And they wrote that out and kept it uppermost in their mind regularly. So, as you came in, there were envelopes and letters and pens. So, if you didn't, Joe got one. If you didn't get one, now would be a good time to get it. Okay. Oh, good. Okay, so.
I'm disabled. It'll take me 5 minutes to walk there and back. It's coming. Mary just bring them in.
Okay, so you need one?
Yes.
Okay.
They're coming in.
They're coming in.
Oh, thank you.
Liz, would you bring one up to Almeida, please?
Thank you.
Yeah. So we come here today from a lot of different places. We come here with a lot of different things going on. We have a powerful prayer ministry here at Unity of Greater Rochester that is connected with the power of silent unity. If you have a prayer request, there's a prayer box in the back, and I ask that it be brought up now. In the same way that the prayer box is being brought up, bring up in your mind some specific need or dream or request that you have. The prayers that you submit here, we hold for 30 days. We pass on to Silent Unity immediately and join you in positive, powerful prayer. Letter to God. This always sounded a little strange to me. I have to confess this. It sounded a little bit like a letter to Santa. Okay? Like we're writing a letter to something or someone that's not right here. Okay? The presence of God is right here with us, right here within us. And so it's a danger to think that we're writing, "Dear God," up there somewhere, out there, wherever you are. The presence of God is everywhere, is out there, up there, down there, but also in here. And so let's be careful to include that presence and power in every possible way. Now, we have a tradition in Unity of changing a word or two in different songs, and I did that this week. There's a song that we're going to sing before meditation that is, "Here I am, Lord, use me, guide me, lead me by your will." So I changed that to "Here I am, God." Because Lord lots of times refers to Jesus. Lord refers to a relationship between Lord and Master. And so we're talking to a presence and power that's within us, that's around us, that's everywhere present. So we're going to call that God this week. You know, there are some New Thought churches that are uncomfortable with that word, God. They say Spirit, maybe, or great mystery. So we are addressing something that is hard to put into words, hard to hold in our minds. So we open our hearts to that presence and power. You're going to have time to do a little writing. We're going to talk about what you might put in there. We're going to connect with the divine. This is like the first step of goal setting. This is the time of year when people make resolutions and set goals. What we're saying is get a partner in your goal setting. Connect with infinite love and wisdom and let your intentions come up from your heart, from that connection with pure being. And in so doing, what we do makes a difference and is a blessing to the world. What we do, what we are, can bless the world. So we set the intention of being a blessing. Okay. We're going to affirm that in song here.
We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. I'm a blessing to the world. Good morning. It's wonderful to be back here with you today. For some of you that don't know me, I am Suzanne Carter, Nat's wife. I live in Colorado with a whole practice. I'm a therapist, but I am also a Unity minister, and I'm very glad to be back here with you today. And I was here, what? Yeah. Oh yes, Romeo. Romeo, Nat called him the pastor this morning, and I said, he's the master pastor. He's our four-legged child. So anyway, when looking at what we want to write today in the letter, it is good to think of 3 steps that Jesus spoke of in Luke 11, 9 through 10, I think, or something like that. But he said, ask, seek, and knock. And so let's just look at this 3-step formula. It's a fun formula to remember: ask, seek, knock. Also, ask, seek, knock. There are the 3 letters in the word ask. So it's easy to remember if we get stuck. So first of all, ask. There is a part of us that knows what our soul desire, what our divine desire is. There is a part of us that knows, even if we aren't sure. So you could think of this part that knows what our deepest desires are. You could think of it as our higher self, our divine self, our Christ within, our authentic self, however you want to think about that. I like to think about it as the wholeness of me, and that the wholeness of me, as directed by the higher self, is able to hold all parts. But whatever I say today, or what anybody ever says really, if it doesn't quite fit, change it so it fits for you. Just as Nat said, we changed one word in that song. So, and again, however we think of God, God is always greater than anything we would think of or define. So anyway, so I believe that when Jesus said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things shall be added unto you," so based on what Jesus taught and what unity teaches, and metaphysically, this is how unity looks at that, the kingdom is within us. And so back to asking, what are we going to ask for? Again, I said that we know what our deepest desires are, even if it's slightly below our conscious awareness. We know what that desire is. It may pop up in our dreams, or sometimes we'll just get like a little flash of it. And so we need to be paying attention. That's what mindfulness is all about. But desire comes from deep within, and we are each given inner gifts or inner strengths to manifest these divine desires. And fulfilling our soul desires makes the world a better place. I think it is a way of creating heaven on earth. So in this first step of asking, we ask affirmatively. We ask believing, knowing that this is a soul desire and it is meant to be fulfilled. And as we fulfill these soul desires, we grow in consciousness. And so when we ask, we do not ask thinking, well, this is what I want, but I know it's impossible and I'm not going to get it. We ask with supreme willingness, even if we have no idea how it will manifest. We ask, believing that what we desire shall come to pass. Now, one way to discern what these soul desires are is by answering this question. What would I do if nothing were standing in my way? Some of you may recall that I talked about that last summer. And I think we should ask ourselves this question at least once a month. What would I do if nothing were standing in my way? And then, after we ask, the next step is to seek. So what do we seek? Again, from my perspective, for today, seek our authentic path. We must be willing to follow our own authentic path and no one else's. Even if it makes no sense to anyone else, we must be willing to follow our own authentic path. And like, I'm not a pilot, but I've heard that the way pilots fly airplanes is they're never really completely on course. And certainly it's automatic now. But it's like, so we may have to continually adjust. But that's why we continue to seek the answer to this question. What would I do if nothing were standing in my way? And so here's a quick example. After I got my master's degree in psychology, I was looking for a job. And then one day, while at the Unity Church that I'd been attending only for 1 year, and in the meditation, I heard that my next step was to become a Unity minister. I was a bit shocked by that. But I was shocked into complete willingness because I knew that was my next step. However, my father, my friends, my teachers in college, the professors, they were aghast. They completely tried to turn me away from this crazy idea. My most favorite professor said, "Oh my God, Suzanne, you are looking for a job and now you're going to turn to religion?" But it was my path, and I pursued it without their help and their support. Now, it's much easier if we do have support, like maybe even one friend, where we support each other in manifesting our soul desires. But so after we've identified our desire and figured out what our authentic path is, which of course is hard to do, that may change every day, but we just need to be willing. And so this next step, knock, has to do with action, taking action. Now this step alone can overwhelm people so much because they have no idea what to do, and they think they can only take a huge action in order to fulfill this dream. And it's not true. We do not need to take huge actions. This step of asking about an action is taking the smallest steps, perhaps. Maybe we just need to gather more information. Nat has often described this as putting one toe. If you want to try something out, just like put one toe in the water, or maybe just even approach the water. And then if it feels right, put more of your foot in, and then maybe the other foot. If it doesn't feel right, then you back up and find a different way. And so taking a tiny step is how our dog Romeo learned to walk into the water of Lake Ontario last year. He was really afraid at first. He's not a water dog. He's a golden Newfoundland Pyrenees, you know. And so even though he's pretty small, he's only 70 pounds, but he was afraid to even get close to the water. The waves terrified him. But we would see him watching like retriever types of dogs running in, and he'd be watching them. And he would watch them, and he would go in, and he would go in slowly. And after a few weeks, he got his paws in, then his wrists, and then his stomach, and he let the waves flow over to his chest, never his head. But anyway, that's how he learned it, and that's how we can imagine learning things, taking tiny steps. Another way to think of knocking or taking action, another way to think about it, is we're taking faith-guided action, not a shotgun approach, but tiny steps toward that which we are seeking or desiring. And I think this is a spiritual law about manifesting our desire. All we ever need to do is take the very next step. Take the very next step. That's all we ever need to do. If we have a big dream, we don't need to manifest it within a month or a week, but we just take the next step, and the next step lets us know what the next step is after that. So this three-step formula, we ask, we identify our own authentic path, and then we take tiny actions. And so with all of that in mind, ask, seek, knock. I'm going to lead us in a meditation, and our meditation hymn today is My Dedication.
Humble, surrendered, lifted.
So let us continue in this time of inner quiet. Let us deepen our breathing. Breathing into this now moment. Breathing into the very center of our being. Breathing in divine light that illuminates our authentic path. And let us imagine, using the power of our imagination, let us imagine being in a very safe and sacred place. Whatever that might look like. Let us imagine being in a place that is so safe that we are able to be in touch with our deepest knowing. It is always there, our deepest knowing. And in this safe and sacred place, I invite you to imagine that there is a spiritual teacher with you, whether it is someone you know as a teacher, a high being, or a manifestation of your highest self. And imagine this being coming to you, beside you, and asks you, what would you do if nothing were standing in your way? What would you do? And let us just pause just for a moment and see what might come up. What would I do if nothing were standing in my way? And there might be many answers, or they might be different facets of the same desire. But I invite you to now imagine that your spiritual teacher joins with you and helps you breathe in to an awareness of your path. Imagine your feet being on your own path. Feel the connection. Our feet mean our understanding. And so with understanding, we connect with our authentic path, our divine path. And as you do this, imagine what your next step is in fulfilling a divine desire. And let us take a moment in the silence and just allow what our next step might be on our own path to fulfilling our own desire. And as we connect to this, our authentic path, the path that only each one of us can take, no one can take it for us. And know our path goes behind us all the way to our birth date. And it goes forward. It goes forward to this moment. And we are each invited this day to language something, some awareness of a divine desire, and perhaps the next step. And as we write our thoughts today, as we write our letter to God, we can affirm, Thy will is done through me this day. 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 Thy will is done through me this day.
Thy will be done. What are we saying there? Thy will be done. God's will is good, always good, absolute good. Not always clear, but always good. So we can always trust saying, Thy will be done. We can then say, I am going to line up with that flow of absolute goodness and let it be done through me this day. That's the key to living well and to being a co-creator with absolute goodness. A lot of subatomic physicists and scientists and cosmologists have said there is only energy. There is no stuff. There's only energy and interacting with each other and creating solid things and not so solid things. And that energy has a direction in which it moves. A direction. You might call that God's will. And as we align with that direction, we are able to heal, prosper, have harmonious relationships, have a sense of purpose and accomplishment in our lives. It's interesting to hear scientists say that. Of course, they don't say how to do it. How do you line up with that flow of energy? Well, that's what the spiritual traditions of humanity have been saying. There have been a lot of different ideas about it, some quite different from each other. But we start with an idea of, we start with two basic principles. Who we are and what God is. Now, we have some basic teachings about that in Unity. What's important is that you know what you believe about that. Your understanding of the divine gives you access to that movement of energy, to the movement of life and love and imagination and power. I call this the God letter instead of a letter to God, because it can be a letter about God and about us. And so you might think, well, we've had some examples of God letters already today. We sang them. Silently now I wait for thee. Ready, my God, thy will to see. Open my eyes, open my ears, open my heart. Here I am, Lord. Use me, guide me, fill me, lead me by your will. We are a blessing to the world. We are the hands, heart. Those are God letters. It's an understanding there of an ultimate reality. And so old traditional prayers are the same way, whether it's the Lord's Prayer or God is my help in every need, God does my every hunger feed, or I'm now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. Those are God letters. It's an opportunity for you to think, what would I put in there to talk about what is God like? What am I? So you might start with, here I am. I think it's a good topic to put on your letter to God. Here I am. You say something about maybe what's happening, what you would like to happen, what has happened, who you are, what you are. That might lead into thank you, or I'm sorry, or I don't understand, but here I am. And another second topic you can put there, God is here. Right here. Right now, God is here. And start some background music. Consider those. Here I am. I am here. And God is here. Open your mind and your heart to have some words form that you might jot down. Take some notes on the awareness passing through your mind. And take a few minutes of quiet to listen, to watch, to wait, and perhaps to write. Continue in your openness to Spirit. You can continue writing through the rest of the service. You have a choice of what to do with this. If you would like us to mail it to you, fill out the envelope with your address and put down in a corner somewhere the two places. Some churches send them out in the spring because it's something nice to generate growth. Some churches send them out at Thanksgiving to see if there's some completion. So write a little note on the envelope whether you want it in spring or Thanksgiving. Some people keep it and refer to it often. Use it as an orientation. So you may take it with you and use it. Let's see. If you would like us to mail it to you, put it on the table or the counter outside in the narthex in the lobby area. We will collect them and stamp them and mail them to you. What you're doing here is aligning with the flow of absolute goodness, of unconditional love that makes a difference. You are being a blessing to the world. That's right.
Of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. I am the hands, I am the heart, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and all I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. You're a blessing to the world.
Now's the time that we consciously bless what we are, what we have, what we do, and what we give. We bless the gifts that we would give in support of Unity Rochester. We bless the gifts of our time and our talent and our treasure that we would give in support of God's absolute goodness in the world. Now, I changed a word in this again. I changed one of the words last week. Last week I said, I have some things in my life that I don't want multiplied, that I would like released. Okay? And so we said, God blesses and multiplies all the good that I have, am, give, and receive. But then I thought, well, that's not quite right either. God's love blesses everything. God's love transforms everything unlike itself. And so the flow of absolute goodness takes everything and multiplies the good in it. It only multiplies the good. And so divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies with goodness all that we are, have, give, and receive. Think about that. And then let's declare this together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies with goodness all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. So it is.
Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? Why should my heart feel lonely and long for heaven and home? When Jesus is my portion, my constant friend is He. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. When Jesus is my portion, my constant friend is He. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. His eye is on the sparrow, and
we had a little discussion. And let me tell a little story here. We had a little discussion earlier this week about, the words are important, and these words to this song aren't exactly what we teach in Unity, but that's true of most every Christmas carol. Okay? And so, what's important is that it touches our hearts and opens our hearts, and this did. So thank you so much. Yeah. 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 All right. Oh. Thank you for the gifts of your support to Unity Rochester. You have blessed them. I dedicate them to do the work of unconditional love, abundant life, and universal truth. To touch lives and make a difference in the world. We do that gratefully, expectantly, peacefully, in the name and the nature of Jesus Christ. So it is. Amen. Now we're going to close with, we might have some announcements. Yeah. We've been collecting food for the School of the Arts. They're very happy about that, but they're not in school right now. So we're suspending those food collections until the kids come back to school. And what's happening here? Okay. All right, we're continuing with our Thursday noon meditation. Bernie's telling me to use the microphone. We're continuing with our Thursday noon meditation. Lots of space. Okay, the Thursday evening Course in Miracles group has been temporarily postponed until till things calm down a little bit. Okay, till it's not quite so communicative, or whatever the word is. Okay, so back one. Okay. We have a new group of prayer chaplains, so every day, every Sunday, prayer chaplains are available to pray with you up front here after the service, so in person. So we're going to close the service with a couple of prayers. The prayer for protection, and we're going to say that for us everywhere, and for a prayer that's called the peace song. Okay, so we want to stand for these two. And so if the prayer chaplains would come down here, stand with us. We're going to say the prayer for protection for us in the largest sense. We join together with God's children everywhere. Human and animal, plant and material. And we join with all of creation and claim that that is us. And what we say about that is this together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well. There be peace.
When
did.